All right, guys, we're here doing a reaction video. This is my girl, Maria Bar. Back when I was in high school, she was the babe of all babes for the finance world. And the video is, here's how the IRS plans to use its $80 billion in new funding. Tim is smiling as he sends this to me because he knows I'm probably going to start mother effing somebody. So let's take a look at this. We're going to press play. Is my volume up? Let's see if my volume's up. That's a shift. That's not the right button. There we go. Let's press play and see if it's too loud.
Taxes in America in focus next week. Tuesday is the deadline for most of us to file our taxes for the year. And then on Wednesday, the Senate Finance Committee will be grilling the IRS Commissioner, Daniel Werfel, on how the agency will spend $80 billion in new funding. Joining me right now to look ahead is Americans for Tax Reform President Grover Norquist. Grover, great to see you.
Oh, Grover.
Thanks so much for being here.
Absolutely. Good to be with you.
So the Wall Street Journal editorial board looking into the IRS plans for that money, 60% apparently going to go to expanded enforcement on taxpayers, 9% to improving taxpayer services. What do you think that means? What is going to happen at the IRS now with all that new
I
funding?
wonder.
There will be more audits, and the IRS has targeted and told us for years their plans are to audit more small businesses, self-employed people, independent contractors. Throughout the administration, there's been a war on independent contractors to try and force everybody to have a job and a boss, not be an independent contractor. They're using the IRS to go after independent contractors as well. They think they're not paying enough in taxes, also self-employed people. And they most recently announced they're really looking at people who are paid in tips. So all this happy talk by Biden about it's just billionaires, I don't know too many billionaires.
I'm going to start right now. If you think for a second, here's when everybody says it's for these super ultra rich people. I mean, let's look at it this way: net worth of all billionaires in U.S. $4.5 trillion. Guys, the U.S. government every year spends like $9 or $10 trillion. There's no way that's going to it covers less than half of 1 year, and you tax them 100%. They have no more money.
It's confiscation. Take away their money.
That's all it is. It's unbelievable to me. Like, I look at this and I think to myself, what do these guys think is actually happening here? That they think that we're all of a sudden going to be dupes to think, guys, they're going after as many. Now, are they going after people who make $20,000 a year? Well, guess what? I know a lot of people who are 1099s who write off a lot of stuff and show about 20,000. Yes, they're going to go after them. Mm-hmm. If the 1099 people are the ones they're going after, it's not guys like me. I'm not a 1099 guy. It's the guy who goes and does, flooring here or there, or kitchen remodel here and there. That's who they're going after. These are not ultra rich. There's only so much you can tap. Like I said, $4.5 trillion in total net worth of all U.S. billionaires. That's half of 1 year of the entire United States government. So for those who understand, when they're worth $4.5 trillion, that's not per year. That's total. So if you tax them 100%, they're going to zero. They're now no more billionaires in this country. They go to zero.
And you know how many jobs are gone?
And how many jobs are gone then? And then they go and cover half a year of their entire spending. Yippee! It's 5 years of their deficit. That's it. Oh, I love this. When people think it's all rich people. By the way, it's the biggest dupe that the left does. We're here to fight that guy. 1099s. Last time I checked, I guarantee you not a single member of the Forbes 400 list is a 1099 taxpayer at all. So don't think for a second they're going after, I'm not a 1099. Mo's not a 1099. That doesn't exist. They want their payroll taxes. That's the big reason.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. And by the way, who pays payroll taxes? Employers, but also the employees as well. Let's keep going.
Billionaires who survive on tips. I know a lot of
tips. Let me ask you a question. Do I get tips? Mo, do you get tips?
No.
Nick, do you get tips? Tim, do you get tips? Who gets tips? Everyday Americans working everyday jobs, AKA waiters and waitresses and bartenders. Come on. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Stop. Tim, F you for putting this video up. I'm going to say that right now. Tim's so happy. Tips? We listened to two and tips. Pause. What is going on here? This is not going after rich people. Let's keep going.
People who work at restaurants and barbershops who do.
That is unbelievable. That is outrageous because they keep telling us that they're not going to raise taxes on anybody making $4.
I have a question.
So, yeah, let's hear it.
What about the cash businesses out there? I mean, the bars that just go straight off of cash. The barbershops just go straight off of cash. The barbershop that we go to, it's all cash. It's always been that way.
That's what they're trying to go after.
Yeah. They're gonna crack down so hard on those places.
So I loved George W. Bush. It was more of I like the personality, the fact that he got rid of Saddam Hussein, et cetera. But I remember when he said, I'm not raising your taxes, I'm cutting taxes. And then he went and hired a ton of IRS agents. And I was like, so you're not really raising taxes, but you're figuring out a way to get the money. No different here. But I remember saying it back then going, well, yeah, he raised our taxes in a way by just going out there and saying, and this is a Republican, and I'm not a Republican anymore, but this is a Republican that I love, that I sit there and say, come on. When people criticize him for education, he had the biggest Department of Education increase at the time in spending. I was like, come on. Same thing here, guys. Just because you can cut taxes to 20%, but if you massively increase audits and massively increase all these things, what's going to happen?
I have a question about that $45.6 billion number.
Yeah.
That's tax enforcement. It's going towards the new 87,000 agents or whatever they hired.
Whatever.
And they have guns. So I want to know how much of that is going towards the guns.
Thank you, Bo.
You're welcome.
$400,000 or more. But then at the same time, they say they want to go after people's tips.
Yep. That's where they think the cash that they don't see is. They want it. And this is not about auditing rich people. Rich people get audited, as we found
going after
when the
everyday
IRS
Americans.
itself stole data and gave it to a left-wing group, ProPublica, 2 years ago. They still haven't come forward with an admission of who did that.
There's George W. Bush.
I was going to say, look, there's Bush the onion.
They violate. They took whole tax returns in audits and threw them out there to hand out to.
If you believe that the IRS is only focusing on wealthy people, you're absolutely
crazy.
Now, already your chance of being audited if you make over $100,000 a year is astronomically higher than, it's big time higher than if you make less than that. They're already getting audited, okay? People are already getting audited. Mm-hmm. Well, where's the untapped money then? You know what the funny part is? I don't carry cash, but I always say to Lisa, I wish I carried cash. When I go to a restaurant, I can leave that cash tip for the waiter. Because I don't want them to report the money. Right. I want to encourage them to not report the money.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm looking at going, like, when I was a waiter, it'd be awesome. If I went home with $60 in tips that day or $100 back in 2002, I'm like, that's big money. Mm-hmm. That's big money.
Yeah, I loved getting cash tips at the golf course.
100%.
Yep.
And of course it's not being done. No. Of course it's not being paid for by I joke always whenever somebody cashes, and you're going to report that, right? They're like, oh, absolutely. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's not me. I don't get paid in cash. People have offered us cash for rentals. We go, no, we have to have a record of it.
Yep.
We don't do that. Let's keep going.
To some left-wing group to play with as they want. No one's been fired. And when asked by Congress, they're told, oh, it's being investigated, but it's a secret.
Huh. Well, meanwhile, next week is tax day. We're all looking forward to filing our taxes on time. What do we need to know about this year? Anything special? And will taxes be going up?
Well, there are a series of tax increases that Biden and the Democrats passed before they lost control of the House. Those are in and settled. And by
the way, people, my taxes went up with Donald Trump. So I don't want to hear people, he took away so many deductions, took away so much stuff that was convenient. So if anybody tries to sit there and blame it on the Democrats, don't blame it on the Democrats. And when I looked at Obama raising tax, guess what? That was a reaction to Bush's egregious tax cuts that were not able to be funded. Like, even if somebody cuts taxes, if you don't cut spending, it's just delaying the tax increase for down the road. Because you can't just operate on deficits all the time. If you could, why charge any taxes at all?
Well, it's my other question. Why don't we just print it?
That's exactly when people say the modern monetary theory of it's okay to print as much money. Well, then why charge tax at all? People will say, well, it gives money value. Well, so does buying stuff. Mm-hmm. You don't need taxes to put a value in money if you can just print it all day long. That makes no sense. There's always a repercussion, and there'll be a repercussion for tax cuts if it's not met with spending cuts. Spending cuts. That's absolutely essential to making sure that we live in an environment in which we can cover. In the last 40 years, we only had 2 years of a budget surplus. And it happened to be 2 years in which there was major economic boom back in the 90s, but also there wasn't as much spending increase. That's the issue we have here. Do I need to watch any more of this video? It's been 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Do I need to watch more, Tim? All right, so here's another video, and it has AOC on here. Guys, AOC is a moron. She's stupid. She doesn't understand it. When she was so proud that she got Amazon to say no to New York, She said, well, we saved New Yorkers money. No, what they were doing was instead of getting $30 billion in tax revenue, New York said, we'll give you back $3 billion of that. It's $27 billion. She made it sound like New York wasn't giving them $3 billion to start. That's not the way it was. AOC is dumb. She also said the Pentagon was looking for a $700 billion increase in spending once on a live show. I think it was Trevor Noah or somebody. No, that was their entire budget. So thank you, AOC. I can't wait to throw my computer in about 14 seconds. A system that allows billionaires to coexist with poverty is immoral. We're done here. So thank you very much, AOC. Tell me what happens when you're wearing a $25,000 dress and all these big campaigners that you get lots of money from. You can shove it. And I hope somebody here knows AOC. She won't care about me at all. That's fine. But the second you start blaming the rich for why people are poor, you have a complete lack of understanding of human nature, human behavior, and life. So if you believe that, please unsubscribe from our channel. I don't want you here. You are unsavable. You're an idiot. See you later. Thank you.
And a communist.